Becoming a successful professional speaker is a journey. How do you find that first stage, the next stage, and then the bigger and better stages? I'm Lee Hayes, your host. My co-hosts and I are here to guide you to a more successful speaking career. You're listening to Path to the Main Stage podcast. Welcome to today's podcast. Today we're going to be talking about community and competition, and how emerging speakers can really help themselves by getting into a community and helping others. So my guest host today has a background in TV and soap operas. She's a best-selling author. She's a certified speaking professional. I've seen her on stage. She absolutely rocks it. And she's the past president of the National Speaking Association New York chapter. And she's here to tell us about NSA and community and how you can go to the next level through hard work and through helping each other. So welcome,
Yes.
Robyn Hatcher. It's so good to have you here.
Thank you so much, Lee. It's so great to be here. I love what you're doing, and thanks for having me.
Well, I'm excited to have you. It's funny, our paths have crossed again and again and again over the years. I think we're just destined to cross paths.
I
Um,
know. Maybe
but
we'll get married someday, Lee. I don't know.
we'll have a secret marriage. But we just keep crossing paths, and I think it's because we run in similar circles, which is helping speakers get to the next level. Now, I'm on the management side, and you are on the stage side, and more getting people up there by the performance and the background they need. But I think we're both going to offer really good information today for emerging speakers.
Yeah.
All right, let's just jump right in here. Would you just to
Mhm.
give people a feel, could we talk a little bit about your background? How did you get into speaking? Like, what propelled you to get on that first
Mm.
stage?
Yeah. Yeah, it was interesting. My journey was interesting because I was an actress. I was on stage a lot. So I acted for about 20 some odd years. And then, when you're an actress, you have to find alternative work sometimes because that work doesn't come in, that doesn't flow that much. So one of the alternative jobs I got was teaching English as a second language.
Oh,
And teaching English as a second language, it was really fun. So they used all my acting skills, but I got kind of bored because I'm not crazy about grammar. I'm not crazy about all of that technical stuff. So I created my own class, which was a public speaking class. And so I taught all of the more advanced students, and they were in, and I was I was at the City University, Baruch College. And so they were all advanced and they were students. And so I would teach them public speaking skills. And so I got to be this really passionate about public speaking. And I helped them and I worked with them. And then the people at Baruch College, where I was teaching, started having me do those classes for native speakers. So I started teaching public speaking to native speakers, which then gave me the methodology, gave me all this stuff, and then slowly but surely people were saying, "Well, why don't you do it on your own?" And I'll never forget, a friend of mine was like sitting there saying, "Let's do it. Let's create your own business." And we sat together and he created my card, and I became a public speaking teacher, presenter. So I started doing that pretty much full time. I was doing presentations on presentation skills, and that's when I found out about speaking. And somewhere along the line, I met someone, I think it was Daryl Davis, actually. I was presenting at a conference, and he came up and he told me about National Speakers Association. And then I realized, oh, so this can be a career? And the rest is history.
I don't think I've ever met anyone who taught speaking before doing it themselves. Usually it's the other way around, right? You have these
Yeah,
professional speakers and they go, you know what, I can teach other people to do this. So fascinating. And also
yeah,
to come from that very technical, granular area of using speaking to become a better talker, speaker, right? To better
yeah,
master of
yeah.
language. So fascinating.
Exactly. And it was so fascinating because it hit me so quickly because I had these advanced students and they were learning the grammar, learning the sentence structure, learning all the rules. But they would go to a bodega and not feel comfortable speaking. And that's when I thought, it's like, I got to do something. And that's when I came up with the idea of creating this public speaking class, because that gets that anxiety that
Mhm.
happens when you're faced with another human. They got to do that in the classroom. I did these wild things that forced them to really communicate on stage. I put them on stage. I created debates, and I made the rest of the whole program, the whole language program, would come and watch them debate each other in English. So it's like that level of competence that created was spectacular. And then what happens is their language acquisition improved because they were under that pressure of having to use it.
That's just amazing, amazing.
Yeah.
So, but you mentioned you got into NSA earlier, and what I
Yeah.
really want to do today is dig into NSA, because even what you're talking about with students learning language is you were forcing them to try skills, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure they had community, because it's not just
Right.
one person, they had community. And I believe that community is a big part of the speaking world, because you don't usually have a company, right? It's not like, oh, here's
Right.
my speaking company. That's very rare.
Yeah.
So let's talk about NSA.
Yeah.
Can you just talk about it as a national or global organization?
Hmm.
Um, how was NSA, like, what is the background? What
Hmm.
is their goal? Just tell me a little bit about
Yeah,
the group.
yeah. Okay, let's start with the basics of NSA. NSA was started by a man named Cavett Robert, and it was over 50 years ago, because we just had the 50-year anniversary. And what he realized is, like you're saying, speaking is a lonely business. And what he wanted to do was put together a community of speakers that can support each other in this and help each other. And of course, that people were thinking that's crazy because we're competing with each other. But Cavett Roberts' vision and idea, and this is a quote that is quoted often in NSA circles, is that you just make a bigger pie. So it's like you're a slice of the pie, yes, but what it is you just NSA is designed to create a bigger pie. So he founded NSA. It's a national organization, and then as it grew, it developed smaller chapters. So there are over 30 some odd chapters in the United States, and most large cities have a chapter. Some cities, like some states, most large states have one chapter. Some states have two chapters, like LA, California has, I think, two chapters. And so the national is one level, and then you've got the chapters, and they all are created to create communities that support each other, that inform each other, that educate each other. So, what it is about, like the national will have three major conferences. We have a website that has all of the presentations that have ever been presented on some of those national conferences. So those are in the vault for educational purposes. They have monthly virtual meetings that will help you with your storytelling skills or help you build more community within. And then the local chapters, like you said, I was a president in New York City chapter, which is a wonderful, thriving chapter. And every chapter has a slightly different flavor. But what we do is we have monthly meetings where we bring in one of the famed speakers, Hall of Fame speakers, really wonderful speakers, once a month in person to educate us about how to do the business of speaking. And then we also have once a month virtual classes that gets a little bit more granular in how to do more of the business of speaking. We have something that we call speaker universities, so that emerging speakers can go on a 4-month journey of discovering what they should be speaking about, discovering what the business of speaking is all about, and making community with their other classmates, and really being entrenched in the community of NSA NYC. So I think that's most of the background.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic background.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to keep digging in here. So you talk
Mhm.
about the business of speaking, which I talk about all the time. What are some of the specific aspects that are taught about the business of speaking? Because many speakers, again, when they're starting out, they see it
Yeah.
as an art form.
Right.
And it is,
Yeah.
but there's all the stuff behind it, right? Cutting hair is an art form. being an electrician is an art form, but there's a whole lot of business behind it to make you successful. So what are the
Right.
specific things that NSA looks at?
Yeah, some of the specific things is like what is your business model? So a lot of times people will think I'm a speaker, so that means I need to do keynote speaking and I need to go on these stages and doing conferences only. Most speakers in NSA do not make their living primarily through speaking. There's a very small percentage that are 100% keynote speakers. So we have speakers come in and talk about what the back end is like. So sometimes I do speaking, sometimes I do coaching, sometimes I do workshop facilitation. Some people do MC and speaking. Some people do executive coaching, speaking, and training. Like me, I have a coaching business. I have a group coaching business. I do workshops and facilitation in corporations, and I do the speaking and that. So it's like a learning how other people do their business model is one of the most valuable things that you can get from NSA, because every time a speaker comes, they have a slightly different model. So it's like, okay, there's just not one way to do this. And they will break down exactly how they do it. Then it's like, where do you need help? When do you need help? What kind of help do you need? Do you need a virtual assistant? Do you need to do it all on your own? What kind of technology do you need behind you? Do you need a CRM, a customer relationship management? If you do need a CRM, what type of CRM do you use? And when do you know when it's time to use that CRM? And of course, now it's like all the AI stuff. What in AI tools can help you? What do you want to invest in? What is really, really helping? And then there's the technical part of what makes a good speech. Like we just came from the Influence Conference, which was spectacular this year. And that varies too. What's a great opening? What's a great closing? That is going to depend on what your personality is. Then we've got the whole thing about branding. How do you brand yourself? How do you get yourself out there? How visible do you need to be? And what is that visibility like? Then, of course, how do you look for work? So we'll have people come in, and it's like everybody's like the biggest question, like, how do I find stages to speak on? It's like, yeah, that's what everybody's question always is. And there are many different types. It's like, what's an association? How do you find an association? How often do you reach out to this association? Do you make phone calls? Do you do emails? What goes inside that email? What's a great strategy? What's a great drip strategy for sending out those outreaches? So all of that stuff, those are the type of speakers that will come in and give us. And the thing about that bigger pie, I have a saying when I do teaching or training about leadership, and I love this Chinese quote: the fish rots from the head down.
Oh, interesting
And in
quote. Do
leadership,
tell.
it's such a powerful vision because the fish heads from the right back. However, the opposite is also true. The fish thrives from the head down. And I bring that up because Cavett Roberts' vision of making a bigger pie has infiltrated and filtered down over those 50 years to every member of NSA, which makes this an uberly generous organization. It's scarily generous. Like most people don't even think that that is even possible. But we have speakers that will just open up their entire arsenal and give it away. They will then at the end of the speech say, if you need to get in touch with me, call me. And they will give you their phone number. They will give you their email address. They will help you when they can. And that's what's so fascinating, and that's what's so important, and what is so helpful about being a member of this particular community.
And there's so much depth to what you just said. I'm sure people right now, everyone take a breath, right? That there's so much there. There's so much involved in the business part, but you're going to learn it step by step. And now I'd like to talk a little bit more about that, what speakers give each other. So I know
Right.
that you have professional speakers, you have Hall of Famers, you have people come in who give knowledge away. Do they also support each other in any referrals or anything like that? I've been
Totally.
told, right, that when you get off a stage, sometimes the event planner will say, "You were great. Can you recommend someone?" Do you
Yeah.
ever get people recommending each other?
Oh yeah, yeah. There are several people will create a whole list, and they have maybe like a one sheet with their friends on it, or people that speak similarly to. So just like you're saying, after a particular speech, they will give that list to the meeting planner. Like, these are some people that I recommend. I know you may not bring me in again next year, but here are some people that I think you can bring in. Not only that, but actually, we just had a meeting last month where our current president, Kate Donovan, said that she's already made over $100,000 from referrals from people in the room at NSA. I last year was referred by several people. I was at a conference and I crossed this woman going in and out of the restroom, and I recognized her name because she had been on a CSP, Certified Speaker Professional Google Drive. So I recognized her name because she had recommended something, and I said hello. She said hello. We introduced each other. Blah blah blah. Month later, she calls me and she said, "I have a gig in New York that I can't do, and I want to recommend you."
I
So
love stories like that
yeah,
because it
yeah,
happens
it
frequently
happens.
if you reach out to others, right? If you live in your own bubble and you don't have this kind of community, you miss those opportunities.
Yeah, exactly. And I've had many members of my chapter just call me up and say, a friend, one of my chapter members recently called up and said, a friend of mine is asking for this. I don't really do this. He's a former client. So I'm recommending you. Turned out I got a huge six-figure deal out of that. Um, and I also am doing something. I know that my colleague speak on burnout, and I have a 20-year relationship with the association who I really know could use burnout. So I brought her in to share the stage with me in one of the trainings that I was doing. So yeah, there's that. And a lot of people will come to meetings or call us up or ask about membership and ask, does NSA get you work? And the question is yes and no.
Yeah.
So as like the examples that I just gave, yes, it can give you work if you work it, if you know the people, if you are open, if you're engaged, if you have opportunities and take opportunities to get to know each other.
I think a lot of speakers who are starting out have this misconception that someone else can do it for them. And the
Yeah.
question you got right, does NSA get me work? No. Being part of the community and you
Yeah.
doing work within the community gets you work, but it doesn't
Yeah.
just land at your doorstep, right? I get that call all the time. Lee, you manage speakers. Like, can you just put me on stage? Well,
Right.
no. But if we have a relationship and I find something that works for you, of course I'm going to call you, but no
Mm-mm.
one can do it for you. And I love your analogy early on in this podcast when you said, I was an actress, but being an actress, like jobs don't come along every 5 minutes. Well, you know what? When you're a
Mm-hmm.
speaker, many times jobs don't come along every 5 minutes. You have to audition and audition and audition to get those great roles. And when you're a speaker, not just because you've heard of an event or somebody referred you to an event doesn't mean you're going to fit every event.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, I have gotten calls from people that saw me or was in contact with me 5 years previously. So it took them 5 years to reach back out and say, "Oh yeah, I want you on this stage." It's like, so what were they doing those 5 years? It's not my problem. It's not my business. Like, do I sit and wait for them for 5 years? No, I have to move on. So you have no idea what kind of an impact you're making when you're reaching out and when you're constantly pursuing things, because every seed that you plant, it has the potential for growing.
And you don't
We
always
just
know
don't
which
know.
one's going to take off, right? All of a
Exactly.
sudden you look around and go, whoa, where'd that apple tree
Yeah.
come from, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
All right. So, what about speaking skills? So we talked a lot about the business of speaking. I know years ago when I was invited to NSA NYC as a feedback expert, I guess. You
Right,
had
right, right.
3 different people there from 3 different agencies, and you had 5 speakers get on stage. And that was really, we gave business feedback, but we also
Mhm,
gave content feedback and style feedback.
mhm.
How much opportunity is there in NSA to become a better speaker? To write a better keynote, to
Right.
look better on stage? What opportunity is that?
That's a very appropriate and timely question because there are two opportunities. One, I mentioned Speaker University, so that's something that we do, and each time you Speaker University, it culminates in you creating a 5-minute speech that is videotaped. So then you have the video and you're doing it in front of an audience. The other thing is we are the first chapter in National Speakers Association to create our own Toastmasters group. So if anybody's familiar with Toastmasters, Toastmasters is the opportunity where you go and really just work on the craft of speaking. And so it's about getting your ideas out, speaking the how many ums do you make, your vocal quality, all of that technical part of speaking. So we're just starting our Toastmasters. They're not called chapters, and I can never remember what they're called. Club.
Okay.
Our first Toastmasters club, so that can work on that part of the speaking. And then every once in a while, we will have speakers who come in either on our master class series or our main stage series. Like we've had this amazing storyteller speaker, Kelly Swanson, come in and talk about the art of storytelling. We'll have people come in like Tim Gard and talk about comedy on stage. And then, so those are the types of things that it's all filtered into the business. So you do have the opportunity of learning. And then this year's influence was amazing. And I loved what they did because this wonderful speaker, Lori Guest, had 5 different Hall of Fame speakers come out and demonstrate 5 different aspects of the speech. And so that was a brilliant thing. It's like how to open, how to have interactivity, how to deliver your content, how to close, how to have audience engagement. So those are 5 things that she demonstrated. And if you're a member of National Speakers Association, you can go look that up in the vault and watch it over and over again and get and see what they learn.
Well, tell us just a
Um,
little bit about that national meeting, because that's
mhm.
another opportunity. So, what are the opportunities at the national meeting?
Yeah, there are 2 huge meetings that National Speakers Association host every year. The first one is done in the summer, and that's called Influence. And that gathers everybody from all different states and countries. We usually have people from different countries. And Canada, there are different versions of NSA in different countries, so they will all come to this large event where you have main stage and then you have breakout groups. And so the breakout meetings will have smaller specific topics like hour long, and then we have our main stage, which are the bigger broader topics. And so that's once a year. And then there's in the winter there's another conference called Thrive, and that is a smaller venue, smaller conference. And what people do there is they come and learn specific things, and everybody stays in one room. There's no breakouts. It's much more intimate, and you get to meet all these other people. The beauty about going to these large conferences, like I explained with that bathroom meeting, is you get to meet people from different cities, from different countries, from different walks of life and different models. So you get to really interact in the halls or in our meetings and learn from each other. And of course, have that possibility of a referral down the line, but that learning from each other, so many people have talked about the gold that they learned just through one conversation. How somebody can give you an idea, somebody can give you tell you what they do, and then it sparks this $1 million idea in you.
So much opportunity there. And what about speaking at that event? Where, because you obviously have lots of speakers. Where do those speakers come
Yeah.
from?
They they can submit to national to speak. They're mostly all members, however, not all.
Okay.
Sometimes they'll bring in member speakers from outside of NSA that might have a really powerful message. But most of the time, there is somebody who is in charge or coordinating that meeting planning, and they will reach out to people that they think will fit the theme, because every meeting has a particular theme.
Okay.
So you can submit to speak, especially in the breakouts, and then the committee, who's running the conference at that time, that committee will look at people's submissions, see what fits, and then they have you on. And another thing that's so interesting about all of this, nobody gets paid. So these speakers are doing this amazing work and generosity for the love of speaking and the love of their fellow members.
Okay, I'm gonna contradict this a little bit. So you're not getting paid cash, but you are
Right.
getting value, right? And that is
Exactly.
so because I'm always talking to speakers going, stop looking at the top line, look at the back end. I imagine they're
Oh, for
getting
sure.
video, right? Which
Yes.
is
You're getting video, you're
huge.
getting that exposure
Mhm.
to like hundreds of speakers who now know, oh gosh, that guy is great on stage. Let me call him up, or let me refer him or her.
Right.
And yeah, and that's an excellent point. That's because that's another topic that comes up all the time in our chapter meetings. Is like, how much do you get paid? How much do you charge? How do you do that? Do you speak for free? There's always that question. And to your point, Lee, you never speak for free. You
Right.
speak for value. You speak
Yes.
for
Yes. Yes.
something, whatever you can get. And there are so many ways that you can leverage your speaking to make it valuable,
Mhm.
both to you and to the organization who's asking you.
Absolutely. And I love that you punctuated that because it's so
Mhm.
important to keep that in mind that the check is not the only value you're getting.
Yeah.
Okay, another aspect of NSA, or this is actually NSA adjacent. I believe you use eSpeakers, the platform, for
Yes.
everyone there. Can you talk a little bit to eSpeakers?
Yes. eSpeakers is like, what would I compare it to? Like Carvana for speakers.
Okay, I like it.
It's like, it has all the speakers. If you're a member of any chapter of NSA, you get an immediate free profile. And what I mean by free profile is like you go to the site, you look for speakers, you can put in a topic, and all these speakers' profiles will come up. It'll have information about where they are, what they speak on, what some of their keynote topics are, what their fee range is. So it's all there. So it's a valuable thing for even emerging speakers to go and just study who's on there, how they position themselves, what they charge, what they speak on, how they write their descriptions. And so that's eSpeakers. And I spoke earlier about a customer relations management, and eSpeakers has just up-leveled their professional membership, or their quality, to include a customer relationship management.
Mhm.
And I just sort of started dabbling in it, so I'm not 100%. The jury's still out, but it offers an awful lot. And so to be on eSpeakers is great, because somebody looking for a speaker can see you, and it's also you have a profile that you can then share with other people. And it also has a back end. If you wanted to like figure out, write a proposal, send a proposal, you can do a lot of different sort of spreadsheet kind of things and back end business stuff from your eSpeakers site.
It definitely gives you support and
Right.
learning, right? You can learn
Hmm.
from it. So one
Yeah.
thing in eSpeakers is you mentioned you can see prices, you can put yourself out there. It does give you, I think, very good insight into what other people charge, like what you should be
Right.
charging. So I think that's a great place to get opportunity. And now in business, you mentioned they have uh, a CRM there available for you. And my one piece of advice for me is even if you're just looking into CRMs, like before you figure out the right one, the best one, use a free one, but use it because you don't want to lose a single lead. You don't know how many times I've talked to speakers and they went, oh, you know what? I started 8 years ago, but I didn't keep any records. And all these leads, all these opportunities, which sometimes, like Robyn just said, can take 5 years to grow, or you're planting all these seeds, the CRM keeps track of all those seeds. So you can look back I'm guilty of this. I've kept a CRM for years, but I started one right from the beginning, but I wasn't really utilizing it very well. But then when I got a virtual assistant and I got a mailing system, I suddenly went back and had all this information that I could start using. And it
Yeah.
cleaned up very quickly, but it was so worthwhile. So I love that eSpeakers has one, but even if you don't use that one, use any one.
Use anyone and use one that you can use, like you're saying, because make sure that it is easy for you. Because I fall in that same thing. It's like, because I'm not into keeping track of things. I'm a
Right.
very high level kind of a gal. So if that CRM looks complicated, you're not going to use it.
Mhm.
So when you're first starting, find something that's simple enough. A lot of people still, I've spoken to some really successful speakers who are still using Excel spreadsheets.
Sure.
Whatever works in Google
Sure.
spreadsheets are really great too, because you can do a lot more with them.
And they're free.
But yeah, and they're free. And so using that, but CRMs are great, but if you don't use it, it's a waste of money and a waste of headspace as
Right.
well,
Right.
because then you feel guilty for not using it and then blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I just spent the entire weekend cleaning up my CRM list because it had like all this stuff that was really garbage leads. And if you have a bunch of garbage leads in there, then it looks overwhelming and you don't use anything.
Mm.
So like
Yep.
I really organized it and sent it to my assistant so that she can organize it and clean it up. So yeah.
But the real learn for me there is, but you have it all, right?
Yeah.
So yes, you need an assistant to clean it up. Yes, there's a lot of junk, but there are also gems in there. And if you
Yeah.
don't keep track, you lose all the gems. And the beautiful thing about using Google
Really.
Sheets or Excel, once you select a CRM, you just load it, right? You can
Right.
just upload it right into there.
Exactly.
But yeah, please keep track of your leads
Yeah. Yeah.
because stages beget stages, right? The more you can get out there, the more you will get out there. The more information you have, the more
Hmm.
opportunity you'll have.
Yeah. To your point, while I was going through cleaning it up, it was so cool because I looked, it's like, oh yeah, I like it. I mean, and I'd seen them on the series. So what I did was actually a friend of mine recommended this. It's like I printed out everything that was on my CRM. And because there was a whole different mental thing that happened when I looked at the name on a piece of paper versus when I was looking at it on a computer screen.
Mhm.
And so when I was looking at it in the paper, it's like, oh yeah, I remember her. And so now, I had a different relationship with that. Then I put it back. We'll put it back in the CRM, and now it's cleaned up and I can use it. Yeah.
Beautiful. All right, last thing I'm going to ask about NSA, or I shouldn't say that in case I come up with another question, but something else I'd like to share is you have certified speaking professionals. Why is that important and what does it take to become one?
Wow. Okay, the certified speaking professional.
Like, all
Trying
right,
to
here we
think,
go.
remember. I feel like I just got I got an email that I didn't read that they're changing the criteria a little bit. But so when I was doing it, um, certified speaking to professional means that you have been speaking on stages and you have been approved by your peers that you are ethical, consistent, talented, all of this stuff. And what it means is that you need to have been speaking for, I think, over 10 years. You need to have done over 250 presentations that are paid. And you need to have documentation of all those presentations. Then you need to get 20 people who you have worked for to submit a form, a feedback form. You don't get to see it. You send it out. It goes right to the CSP committee. They have to receive 20 different positive feedback within, I think it's like they give you about a month. And the thing that it drives you a little bit crazy because they do this around Christmas
Oh,
holiday. So
of course.
you're sending out these things, and my first thought was, oh my God, they're not going to open it. No one's going to get it back. But I was very pleased to find out that mine will return within 2 days. So I got all, and then you have to submit 2 videos that are reviewed by your peers. So 2 videos. and two or three different peers then review them and judge whether you are accepted based on your video and whether you've gotten all this other criteria. And there's a certain amount of money you need to have made within 5 years.
But it
And it's
really
awesome.
shows that you're for real. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
it's not that somebody can go, "Oh yeah, I'm a certified professional." It's like, no, no, no. You
Yeah.
have to have shown consistency, talent,
Right.
like you said, peer reviews. So it shows you're
And
for
then you get
real.
this cute little medal. There's my
Oh wow, there we
CSP.
go. I love it. But there are so many speakers out there who feel they're speakers because they say they are, right? They have a website.
Right.
And because you have a website does not make you a speaker. Because you want to be on stage does not make you a speaker. And another thing which doesn't make somebody a professional speaker, which is sometimes I feel like this is something that misleads people. They will work for a company, whatever that company is,
Yeah.
large corporation, and they say, this corporation sends me all over to all these meetings, and I speak at all those meetings. You might be very talented. Yes, you're getting paid by your company to go there, but the events are not paying you. And I think something that shocks people is they'll say to me, Lee, I've spoken on 200 stages because X company sent me around the country. I'm going to do this myself. And they are so shocked when they don't do 200 the next year. Like, how come all these people aren't hiring me? It's because none of them did ever. Your company paid money for a booth and put you on the stage. It's different.
Yeah.
But being a certified speaking professional is not that somebody's paid to put you there. It's that somebody paid you to be there. It's the real deal.
And to clarify, NSA does accept some of that. I mean, there's a percentage that if you've spoken for your company, there's some sort of percentage that they will accept for your CSP qualifications.
Well, I guess it's the experience, right? The experience and exposure.
Yeah. So you definitely get
but you're
that
not
exposure
paid.
and experience, but you're not. Yeah.
So I really see the value in that. Although the only thing I want to say, and I'm so sorry, this is the only thing, not against, but I've never had an event say we'll only take a certified speaking professional, or I'm looking for a certified speaking professional.
Right.
But
And that's one thing the NSA is working on right now. They're really working to promote the value of a CSP. And they've created like a CSP website kind of a thing, and they're doing as much promotion as they can to get the word out there that way. Yeah.
No, that is great to hear because so much goes into it. I mean, what you just explained goes into it was exhausting, and people do it, they achieve it. And I think they do need that recognition from event planners. So I love that they're working on that.
Yeah.
But I think for you, for the speaker, if you're trying to get to the next level, that is a staircase of how you talent, skill, business achieve it.
Right. That's the other reason why I need a CRM, because you need to document all of that.
There you go, plug in those CRMs. Okay. Thank you so much for all of this. I'm going to ask maybe the tough question now, which is, you've been doing this for quite a while. If you could go back to beginner you when you were just starting out, what is a piece of advice you would give yourself? Something that you said, if I knew that then, that would have helped me get to where I am now.
Well, I say this all the time, and sounds like such a plug for NSA, but it's true. Like I told you, somebody told me about NSA, and I went to a meeting, my first meeting, and I'm sitting there thinking, I don't want to be around all these people. And I left. I did not join. Went back a couple more times. A year later, I did the same thing. I think I did that for about 3 to 5 years. And when I finally joined, I started kicking myself for having wasted that 3 to 5 years not being a member. So the one advice that I would have done is join earlier so that I could soak up what I didn't know, because a lot of times we think we know more than we do know. And so definitely do that and keep track because there were just things I just had this experience. I was asked, one of my first paid speeches was for Allstate conference. Somebody saw me, they had me do, I had no idea what to charge. I so embarrassingly undercharged and they didn't tell me. Had I been a member of NSA, that could have been a start of my career because being undercharging at that level does not look good for the meeting planner or the person who recommended you, right? So, yeah. So that's my one piece of advice. And we didn't talk about this, but I think there are a lot of people that are out there that want to take your money.
Oh, you know what? We're gonna jump on that now because usually my last question is my last question. No, this is so important. Please continue.
Yeah. So what so it almost piggybacks. So they will want to take your money. They will tell you that you need them to do X, Y, and Z. Now, the thing is, you do need help often. You do need people to coach you or work with you on your keynotes or whatever. But you need to be discerning. And that's the other reason why about joining a community. Because when you're in a community, you can then ask them, is this worth it? What is your opinion about that? Is this going to be helpful or are they just wanting my money? So that's the caution. I was like too cautious because I didn't join NSA, but you also have to be discerning when people coming at you saying you need this in order to be a professional speaker and I can help you get there.
Yeah, no, I think the good point is you do excuse me. You do have to invest in yourself. You
Yeah.
have to invest time. You might have to invest money, but there's no free lunch. If somebody is offering you something that sounds too good to be true, it's too good to be true. If anyone's promising that for $99, you're going to learn to get on stage, you're going to be on there in 1 month, or this year you're going to be a $100,000 speaker, that is too good to be true. And a lot of things that drive me nuts about these programs is that many of them will lure you in with the $99 class. They will not teach you a blessed thing except for how you need them more.
Yeah.
So make sure you
And
know what you're
upsell,
getting out
upsell,
of
upsell.
it. Yeah, have a specific goal that's what you want to reach. And maybe there's some program that you're like, you know what, Lee, the $15,000 program was right for me. It might be right for you, but don't just keep getting sucked in, sucked in, sucked in. Have specific goals. Make sure they're going to help you reach those specific goals. Have an endpoint in mind. And like you said, ask people for who's done it before. Ask for
Mm-hmm.
references. Because there are so many shysters out there. There are too many out there. Before the show, we weren't going to say the name. There's a big one that just got shut down. That's taken a lot of money. That was not a lot of help. But there are also some that are out there that are really good. So you got to do your homework and get those good ones.
Absolutely.
All right, Robyn, thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you no end. Can't wait to see you at NSA again. I am sure our
Yeah,
paths will cross.
totally.
And could you just tell us the website for NSA? So this is not the only place you can go to get community, but it
Right.
is a good,
Yeah.
established, above board place. So how do we find
Right.
them?
Yeah. So there are two different, your national chapter and your national membership, they're two different memberships. And a lot of people get confused by that. But to go to national, it's nationalspeakersassociation.org. And then when you're on that national website, what you can then do is look for whatever state you're in. They'll have an opportunity for you to look for the closest chapter in your state, because that's when you really get to understand and see what I'm just looking up the thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure, but you really make
NSA's.
the connections for the locals. So, I mean, I've only
Yeah,
been connected with a few chapters, but I think I've connected with Philadelphia, New York City, New
yeah,
England,
yeah,
and
yeah,
that's
yeah,
really where you make those human connections.
yeah. Yeah, so a shorter version is nsaspeakers.org is a way to get to national, and definitely go there and find out, or you could just call them. They'll call. It's like, I live here. What's my closest chapter? And they will tell you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Robyn. And now
Yes.
I think we've got it covered. So everybody's learned today about community. Join a community. It's going to help you get to the next level.
Thanks for listening to Path to the Main Stage. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And for full video episodes, check out YouTube. If you want to be a successful speaker, you need to make it happen. My co-hosts and I are here to help guide you. But if you need more help, please check out pathtothemainstage.com where we can connect. And until next time, keep sharing your voice, keep showing up, and keep taking your path to the main stage.